Absolutely free. All you need to do is go to beyondgaming.com, register a free account, and download the app now.
Alright, welcome back. Sorry for my XSplit being visible. I gotta get that set up better. Wait, is that the... What? Did I just see that right? So that's... Alright, well, Alright, I guess I'm not gonna show that. Guess I'll just show that. Alright, apologies guys, I don't know, I don't know when that was made or what, but I guess it had the wrong score on it. These guys are tied up 1-1 right now, unless I'm mistaken and I'm somehow incorrectly remembering the matches. I mean, match 1 was on Antigua, and we saw HuK win with a nice defense against the Roach all in from EG.HuK. Game 2 on Daybreak, of course. And we saw EG.HuK win with some great, of course, as HuK saying there, as EG.HuK was saying there, 3-3 Broodlings with his 3-0 Broodlords. Some nice positioning and Fester support as well. After quite a long battle, it looks like HuK going to go for a Forge expansion here. Can be a little bit hard to pull off on Shadow Temple, as this choke point is really, really wide compared to other maps. But you know what, if he goes for his Nexus wall off, he should be able to pull that off as well. Though this pylon positioning looks a little bit more likely that he's actually going to go for just a full choke point wall off. We'll see which one he decides to go for, though. But on this map, the center is really, really wide open. This is a map that, well, I guess it's, you know, from all the way back in, like Warcraft II, all the way coming back from Lost Temple into Lost Temple and Brood War, into Shattered Temple in StarCraft II. Well, originally Lost Temple with a smaller choke point, and then they made it Shattered and removed the cliff as well above the natural. But the center is just so wide open that it just essentially means you need to play differently than you do on other maps. Like, that's simply put, it's not a map you can just play the same playstyle you can play on a map like Daybreak. This is a map where very specifically Broodlords are not going to be that effective in the center. You can, you know, effectively use them trying to siege up your opponent's main, something like that. It's just a little bit harder to utilize, since if you ever move into the center of the map, you're so wide open and exposed. Your opponent can easily blink underneath you, get just a huge army surround, etc. So Ultras can actually be somewhat effective on this map, since it's just so wide open. There aren't a lot of choke points that Protoss can abuse. HuK asking if EG.HuK is 6-pooled. What did he, he's got his probe there. Just joking around, of course. Oh no, he's talking about that match. Don't remember which one. I know I saw him 6-pool recently, but unfortunately I can't remember which one it was. But in any case, guys, looks like the Forge is going to be set up to actually create a full wall off here. So interestingly, that's actually pretty interesting that HuK would go for not the choke point wall off on the maps with a smaller choke point, and then with a wider choke point on Shadow Temple, he's going to go for that full wall off here. So I got to wonder if, you know, on Shattered he's a little bit worried about early roaches coming forward, picking off these buildings. He wants to have a little bit more of a safe wall off here. Yet again, though, putting his cannon quite far back. So he's very confident against that type of early aggression. In fact, look at that pylon positioning. He's going to be able to put his Zealot right there and block it off. We'll probably see like a core get put to the left of it to try to help block that off. No gas getting thrown up just yet, even though the gateway is all actually completing here from HuK. So that's not what we usually see in this matchup. I'm curious, what is he planning on doing here? There we go. Okay, double gas is coming up just ever so slightly later from when we would generally see it. Double gas coming up from EG.HuK as well now. Uh-oh, not going to be going for... obviously not going to go for the early third on this map. You'd have to, like, go over to this base. They're all blocked by rocks, because back when this map was made, that's what Blizzard thought was good for the game. So it's going to be really hard for him to actually take that third. That's why we're going to see him dropping down that gas and actually going for more of a two-base play. Now, the question is going to be, what type of two-base play is it going to be? Is it going to be some type of all-in? Or is it just going to be more of a standard, like, I'm going to build up and be safe and have my gas so I can go for some roaches, go for some tech, and be safe, but use that to take a third? We'll have to see which one he goes for. Core was put down from HuK here. Hopefully we'll see, like, another pylon or another gateway or something, because this is still a pretty exposed wall off. Granted, EG.HuK not known as one of those players that goes for early Ling aggression. He's not like a, you know, a Moman or one of those guys, so... he can be feeling a little bit safe about that, but that is something that, you know, EG.HuK could exploit if he wanted to. And of course, with that Ling, he has scouted that out. Even as this Overlord over by the natural, he's going to watch for when that third goes up. But unfortunately, no Overlords in the main. This one is traversing over in that direction, though. So he hasn't been able to scout out the gas timing and look at that. A very, very quick layer here coming out from EG.HuK. So what's he going to plan on doing this? Well, he's not rushing it out faster than speed, so it's not like he's trying to go for the quickest layer possible and get up some ridiculous early Nidus or something like that. But this could be for really early Muta play. We know he loves that type of play. Could be, although we'd probably see quad gas going up. Could just be for really quick Nidus into the main with, you know, just mass speedling going in there. Can be a hard strategy to deal with as a Protoss when you go forward expand if you do not watch for it if you don't leave a probe on patrol around any hidden parts of your base or put pylons there. It can be pretty difficult to deal with. No, look at that quad gas coming from HuK. So, and with this Twilight Council actually extremely early on that has not been scouted, he might just try to, oh, it is Blink, wow. I almost thought that might even be DT there with it just that early, but he did not have the gas for it, of course. Looks like pylons are going to be set up for him though, so if it is Nidus for EG.HuK, that's pretty much just not going to be an option anymore for him in terms of Nidusing like sneakily into the main. You can still do something like Nidus Hydra, of course, but he's still just modding on 2 gas. Oh, excuse me, he has gone up to 4 gas. Okay, so my bad, I did miss that. He went up to 4 gas, and he is going to be going to Spire Tech, something that we know EG.HuK really loves to do. This is just kind of his style, more so in ZVT, but to some extent in ZVP as well. He just really loves meterless. They're one of the few units that Zerg has that really lets you take advantage of having better mechanics than your opponent, if that makes sense. You know, some units, it's like with roaches, I mean, you can still have better mechanics than your opponent and everything and still have good micro. But mutas are one of those units that really require and reward a high APM player that's good at multitasking and good at unit control. So, of course, with the amount EG.HuK practices and with his APM and, you know, coming from StarCraft 1, that's the style he enjoys utilizing. And it's the style that, you know, a lot of Pro Toss players have actually been complaining of having trouble with. So, the problem, though, is that HuK is going for some pretty early aggression here. Oh god, my mouse just glitched out. Oh, no, the cat. Oh god, what's going on? Lost replay. I apologize. Just reconnected the mouse. Sorry about that. Is it working now? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, I hit P, but I guess it didn't pause it. Never mind. Sorry about that, guys. Looks like he's just going to try to take a third now. He's going to take out those rocks. Of course, you want to be able to double expand while you get up to mutas. But the problem is that HuK is going for this really early aggression. Look at this. 6 gateways with very early blink and +1. Think about how early this blink is. After a forward expansion, when do you see blink already done by the 9-minute mark? It just doesn't happen very often at all. So this is not going to be something that EG.HuK is probably expecting. He does already have his mutas on the way, but I mean, mutas against Blinkstalkers are what you build against mutas. So this is going to be pretty rough. He does have those 4 spines, though, and without like an observer to give uppercut vision, HuK might have to suicide his zealot up the ramp and try to blink up into the main. Is that what he's going to go for? Oh, he couldn't quite get it. He needs to blink one okay, he's not going to go for it yet. Too risky, not enough units. Got to wait at least for that pylon to get up so you can get in some more reinforcements. What you can do is blink your stalker down here and run the stalker up the ramp, and then you blink the rest of your stalkers up into the main, avoiding the spine crawlers. We'll see if he does that. I believe he'll do that with this next warp in. I gotta imagine he's not just gonna want to let EG.HuK sit back with his mutas. Oh, he's just gonna walk. Oh, a little bit more sloppy there. But he does get up the ramp. The problem is, of course, every single stalker does have blink on cooldown right now, so he can't blink away from these Zerglings. He's taking a lot of damage. Excellent position, though. Going behind the mineral line, does blink back just to get those hurt stalkers in the back. Mutas, though, doing a lot of damage because the stalkers are killing off lings. They need to target fire on these. Oh, they're not target firing either. Oh, really need to target fire so you're not taking out multiple mutas at the same time. And it looks like actually HuK's going to lose every one of these stalkers. Excellent hold there by EG.HuK. Those 4 spines made such a big difference, adding so much DPS to those stalkers on their way warping in. And of course, he just had all those mutas in time. The timing really was just not a time you usually see Zergs get up mutas by. So I think both players were caught just a little bit off guard, since players usually don't go for blink that quickly, and Zerg players usually don't go for muta that quickly. So they both kind of countered each other there, and we're going to have a bit of a reset. The problem is, for HuK, he just threw away quite a lot of gas worth of units, whereas EG.HuK, when you think about what he lost, he mostly lost Zerglings. He kept most of his mutas alive. He lost a couple drones. Yeah, just a couple worker kills there. And that means he's just in a pretty darn good position, especially with his third already completing here, whereas HuK has not taken his yet. So throwing away all those blink stalkers, I mean, HuK's just a little bit further behind this game, but we've seen from the game on Daybreak, he is a resilient player. Do not count him out just yet. I gotta say, in this matchup, there's so often these times where there's, you know, it's like normally the game is just at such a huge disadvantage. Things like losing sentries early on, or getting your third delayed, or losing those blink stalkers early on. But he's certainly one of those players that seems capable of, you know, making the correct decision when you are behind to be able to get back into it and just play that standard macro game, turtling up. +2, oh excuse me, not +2, he is going for, oh excuse me, +2's already done, there's +1 armor. Interesting that he seems to really not like that +3 attack upgrade. Maybe there's something I don't know about that. Gotta find out from him, but he is going for Storm, so he's playing just completely textbook standard for what you do against muta. This is the most efficient way to beat it. You get blink stalkers, you get cannons in mirror line. A lot of people will wonder, like, well, why do you get cannons? You know, it doesn't make sense. The mutas are just gonna kill it if your army's out of position, and if your army's there, then you don't need the cannons. Well, the point is just to give you time. I mean, if you kill off, if the mutas come in and there's no cannons, you're gonna lose every probe. But if the mutas come in and there are cannons, it gives you time to pull your probes and get your army there while the cannons are dying. So pretty much everything HuK's doing right now is just all standard. This is how you beat Muta kind of play. Meanwhile, EG.IdrA not being too greedy and putting too many drones at this base. He's not over-droning. Just got enough so he can mine all that gas, and he goes right back into unit production. So he's just playing very, very safe this game. Doesn't want to die to some type of 2-base timing. He's finally losing that Overlord. So he had that Overlord there the whole time and knew HuK didn't have a third. And that's why he was playing so safe. But now that he sees those units are out of position, he's going to move into the main. He's got to be careful. There is one Templar. He does have Storm. Oh, I love that move. Moving 3 Mutas out in front to pick off the Templar. Oh, he does Storm the Mutas, but it misses the majority of them. Only 1 Muta does go down for that 1 Templar. And of course, they're just starting to get further and further ahead in the food count. He's starting to get this base saturated, just squeezing in drones whenever he can. He's going to get ready to take that 4th. Creep spread just expanding everywhere, which is going to be so helpful later on in this game. Now, what I'm curious about is what's EG.IdrA's transition going to be later on in the game. He actually has not been continuing his air upgrades. Probably he just doesn't have the gas for it, but no, there it is. He's going to go +2 air. So we'll probably see him go into Brewlords later on. That, as I was explaining earlier, that can be a little bit harder to pull off on this map. You know, with melee upgrades, you can still transition to Ultra if you want. Ultra Infester to deal with a lot of Blink Stalkers and Storms can be one of the most efficient ways to deal with that unit composition. As long as you have good fungals, of course. Bad Infester Micro and bad Ultra Micro can make it look like the biggest joke of unit composition ever. But +2 armor on the way yet again from HuK. So really trying to deal with those bounce attacks from those Mutas effectively here. Nice little wall up here, just a little SimCity to try to help deal with this Zerglings, but not going to help against these Mutas coming in. Storm goes off, but EG.IdrA dodges it quite well. Magic boxing as well, so he won't take too much splash damage. Oh, a bad time for those probes to transfer over. Actually, none of them go down, so, or maybe one of them. More and more Templar getting morphed in here from HuK, but the problem is the Nexus just went down, and that hurts. When you know the Zerg is getting up the 4th, in fact, he doesn't know that. HuK really doesn't have much scouting information. He hasn't even seen the 3rd, let alone the 4th, so he's playing so in the dark right now. Just, and this is what kind of ends up you kind of have to do. I mean, when you're still on 2 base and Mutas are out, you can't really afford to go to Storm and add a Robo and get Observers around. You can't like add on Sentries and go Hallucinate. There's just not many ways to scout. So he's just really playing in the dark right now. He doesn't know exactly what EG.IdrA has, and now having lost his 3rd, we actually see him moving out right now, but that's a hell of a risky move. EG.IdrA can easily just run right into the main and just force a base trade. And look at all these spines. A base trade would be so effective for him. Stalker's blinking, but that means they have their blink on cooldown. They're not going to blink into the main for another 10 seconds. EG.IdrA actually... Oh, never mind. Alright, he's not going to use that to his advantage. Doesn't want to take the risk of walking into some Storms in the main. Oh, maybe he's going to go for it now. Just pick off any buildings he can. Just look at how safe he's being. Just always like pick off a building and get out. Assume that your opponent is good. That just really shows the respect he's giving his opponent. That's the type of thing where if you know your opponent's bad, while picking off all of his Stalkers. This is bad for HuK. Nice Storm, but he does dodge it. If you think your opponent's bad, that's the type of thing where you just go until their units get to their main base. You just keep attacking because it's like, oh, his army's out of position. But if you really respect your opponent like EG.IdrA clearly seems to do here, then it's like, oh, I know he's going to be back here with his Stalkers. I need to get out before the Stalkers even show up so I don't get blinked upon. Oh, these Zealots in the middle of the map, a little bit out of position here, are getting picked off pretty much for free. Oh, great Storm's going down! The Mutas are dodging for the most part, but that is just way too much Storm damage. The Muta's going to want to fall back and regen some of that HP. Unfortunately for HuK, though, he really can't capitalize on that. Even though he just did a lot of damage, he can't attack, because not only does he not have any Storm energy left to attack, he also has a very low Stalker count. So there's just really not much he can do besides sit back and continue to turtle. Doing that damage really helps because it means that EG.IdrA is not going to continue being aggressive with these Mutas as much. He wants to, get some more HP back. But since HuK's unable to actually be aggressive and move across the map and he has no map control, EG.IdRA is free to just take all the bases he wants and do whatever he wants, set up all the creeps where he wants. And if any of you guys have played PvZ, you know that's not a comfortable position for a Protoss when you're just totally in the dark and the Zerg is doing whatever the hell they want to do. I'm actually really surprised that we don't see Hive Tech just yet, but he is just going to continue on to his Carapace upgrades for there. Oh, slight Arctosis Pollen getting taken out. Storm's going down, but a couple Mutas do pick off that Templar. I love that willingness to just split up the Mutas and just use a couple to pick off Templar. So a tactic we really don't see that often used by Mutas in StarCraft II nowadays. Oh, Stalker's got to be careful. This is a situation where as a Protoss, you really can't just use a couple Stalkers against these Mutas. You need your entire army consolidated. And oh no, this much splash damage from Mutas can be devastating, but nice job. Baits 2 Storms from HuK. 150 energy down the drain. They did basically no damage. Excellent dodges on these Storms by EG.IdrA thus far. And look at that. He is going to go ahead and take that 5th base while HuK's 3rd is getting established here. Let's take a look at our income tab. 76 drones to 62 probes. So EG.IdRA is just looking like he's in such a solid position this game. The only thing that's scary is that his Hive is just being started at the 20-minute mark. So that can get a little bit risky if the Protoss is able to ever get to 200. Oh yeah, I gotta be really careful as well! Oh my god, walking his Mutas into Storms! He is picking off all all of the Archon, Stalkers, and Knight Templars. That is fantastic. But you gotta be careful. If you take a little bit too much damage, all of a sudden things can spiral out of control when your units just get a little bit too weak. There's like this breaking point where all of a sudden your units are just a little bit too weak and Protoss is able to just kind of stomp across, move across the map with a counterattack and just stomp you down. But that was excellently controlled. He was able to pick off all the Stalkers, and now HuK with almost no anti-air left. Oh, not quite a magic box there from EG.HuK, so he's stacked up a little bit, but the Archons don't really do that much splash damage. So he's able to pick off all of this. Storm goes off on the Zerglings, which, I mean, is kind of a necessity in that situation when they're surrounding your Stalkers and Templar, but you really don't want to be throwing down Storms on the Zerglings. You want to use the Cells against the Zerglings. You have to save those Storms from Mutas, and now he has no anti-air left. The Mutas are still alive and just wreaking havoc here. And this is just getting more and more bleak for HuK. It's not like he has, you know, there's no saving grace, unfortunately. It's not like there's also DTs in the back doing damage or something. It's really what you see is what you get here. HuK really just look at his vision. He just has these 3 bases. He still has never scouted anything. He's just been so under pressure all game long, and this is what happens when you're up against a 2-base Muta style. When Mutas are out that early on, they give you map control for such a long time as a Zerg player that unless the Protoss like busts you and breaks you before the Mutas come out, one of the only ways to play it out is to try to just turtle up. You really can't get much scouting. There's not that much strategy you can successfully do. Ooh, unfortunately no cancel there by HuK. 300 potentially return minerals down the drain. But it looks like EG.HuK might just try to go for it right now. He's trying to pick off some of the Archons with those links before sending the Mutas in. He gets them very, very low. Can easily snipe those down. Actually, Mutas just picking off production. Oh, he's going to go for the Templar Archons. Excellent move. Of course, Archons and Templar are not going to be able to be reproduced now. He's picking off some Stalkers here. There's really not that much Storm left available either. Just like 2 or 3 Storms here. This could be the breaking point. I do not think HuK, unfortunately, has enough to stay alive here. He's just barely staying alive, and that can only last so long when your Zerg opponent has just as much gas as they could ever dream for. Plus 3 air attacks is now on the way for EG.HuK as well. And it looks like he's going to maybe go for some multi-pronged aggression, just send some Mutas in the main, maybe try to pull some of the units out of position, then go into the third. No Storms going down on the Mutas, but they're dodging. Oh, great Storms there! Oh, excellent! Taking out a lot of the Mutas, but it still is not going to be enough. 70 food to 191. EG.HuK can afford to take slightly inefficient losses like that because he is that far ahead, both economically and in overall his army supply. So we should see a GG or a getting called out there from HuK. What are your thoughts on that, Violist? Regularly debated unit in the StarCraft II universe nowadays. Many Protoss players very, very upset with that unit. Zerg players upset that it seems to be the only unit they can win with sometimes. EG.HuK, you know, of course, throwing out his rebuttal. What are your thoughts on throwing away 12 Stalkers blindly? Oh, so comical. I over the back up. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, what a crazy game. We actually saw EG.HuK will take that even on Shadow Temple. Now, that can be a great map for Zerg depending on the playstyle you play with. But sometimes Protoss players just end up really turtling hard and getting at those additional bases, really abusing the small choke points leading into the third and the lack of additional attack paths, and just try to really deny Zerg thirds while turtling up themselves. The problem was, since HuK started with that really early Blink Stalker attack, he ended up throwing away an extreme amount of gas that really didn't do much damage. When you think about the damage it did, he killed 4 drones, and one of those might have even been a scouting drone, I'm not sure, but 4 drones total, and quite a lot of lings. So to throw away Blink Stalkers, when you really think about it, it's not just that you're throwing away the gas from Blink Stalkers. Think about the transition in terms of the way your timing works out when you're setting up your build. You're not making those sentries early on, so those aren't building up energy. You're not getting other upgrades or getting that robo for scouting or harass with war prisms. You're really cutting quite a lot to make sure